listening to Let's Stay Together, a podcast about Fruits Basket by Natsuki Takaya. I'm Ellen.
And I'm Kayla.
And today we're discussing chapters 106 and 107. Yay?
Yay.
Yay. You know, we should always be excited when we talk about fruit, but I don't know why. Why are we so hesitant? It's not like we haven't read the series before. I was like, what is that? Clickety clacking.
He's dancing on my keyboard.
He just wants warm feet.
Apparently. He's like, he can't just like climb up there and be still. He has to go like tippity tap all over the place.
He's like, I'm walking on the coals. I'm walking across the coals. This is like, don't touch the lava. Computer edition. You think you're hot shit? You think you're so full of yourself walking around on that keyboard? That's it.
He's like, yep.
I'm arguing with a bird. Who I turned into. This isolation's really getting to me. I mean,
It's like you're remotely arguing with a bird.
yeah. Well, I can't get within 6 feet of him. Today we're discussing chapters 106 and 107. We're going to do our summary and then spoiler discussion like we always do.
Yay.
Yay. Chapter 106 opens at the hospital, where Rin is not. We see Rin's narration. I woke up in the hospital. What a bad dream. I was supposed to be in there, the cat's room, a room quiet as the edge of the world. Was I dreaming I was there? Am I dreaming that I'm here? I want to go back. I have to go back. But back where? The doctors call Hattori, who calls out Haru's house. His mother knocks on his bedroom door to let him know. Haru sits inside on the floor in the dark, clothes strewn about the floor. It looks like he's wearing the same clothes as last time.
Yeah.
So it's the same night, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, no longer wearing, but...
I mean, well, the same clothes are there in proximity to him, so
yeah.
I assume it's the same night. At the main house, Kureno comes across that one old maid with the bun and another maid. In my notes, it's capitalized, that one old maid with the bun.
I just wrote evil maid.
So he comes across that one old maid with the bun and another maid and asks how Akito is doing. The one maid says that Akito isn't eating because his heart is in pain and doesn't want to see anyone right now. I also made a note that I just remembered that says I imagine her having the voice of a very haughty grandmother Willow, apparently. This is the note that I made to myself. It's not a voice that I can imitate. I just wanted everyone to know. These are the jokes that I'm bringing to bay. Why would you do such a thing? The maid asks. Didn't you realize it would be betraying Akito-san? And Kureno is surprised. Wait, you knew everything? He asks, and the maid scoffs. She also complains about how unreliable the other maid who gave Kureno the key was. Are you saying I should have left her like that? Kureno asks the maid. If that was what Akito-san wished, she says. No, you're wrong, he says. You're the one who's wrong, the maid says angrily. You're a member of the Zodiac, one who was born to live and lives for Akito-san. How dare you betray him? Surely you don't think that girl should win, that awful, disgraceful whore. They both know that she means Ren, and Kureno remembers Akito upset about what her father told her. You're misunderstanding, the maid says. You members of the Zodiac exist only for Akito-san. You must live and die for him. Without Akito-san, you'd all be monsters like that wretched cat. Outside, Rin vaguely remembers Kureno coming to the cat's room and carrying her. Right, I wanted to talk to him. I saw him that day, she thinks, remembering him talking to Tori about how his curse is broken. She was crying, Rin thinks. I got angry. I'm sure he told her something that he shouldn't have. That girl is so spacey, he probably thought it didn't matter what anyone said to her. He said what he had to say and then just left. That was it, right? I wanted to grab him by the collar and beat the answer out of him. We see Rin's memory of her sneaking around the main house following Kureno. You're a bad girl, Isuzu-chan, Ren, who's come up behind Rin and taken her shoulders, says in her memory. Did you sneak all the way in here on your tippy toes? Rin's eyes are wide as she looks back at Ren. She remembers meeting Ren as a child, and in her memory, Ren says, You have such a wonderful, happy home, don't you, Isuzu-chan? You've been looking for something for a long time, haven't you, Isuzu-chan? I know. I wonder. Maybe I can help you, Ren says. I want to see Kureno, Rin mumbles, but then her eyes go darker. Ren-san, do you know a way to break the Zodiac curse? She asks, and Ren's eyes gleam and she smiles. You do? Rin asks. If you grant my wish, then I'll tell you, okay? Ren says. I want something that's rightfully mine. It's in Akito's room. I can't get near the place, but you, Isuzu-chan, you might have a chance. Knowing him, he would have hidden it. Hidden what? Rin asks. A treasure, Rin replies. Rin sneaks down the dark interior halls of the main house and surreptitiously enters Akito's room. She looks around and finds inside of a closed cabinet a black box tied closed with a decorative cord resting on a thin pillow. Rin removes the box with 2 hands. This is it, she thinks. If I give it to her, then she'll tell me how to break the curse. Rin smiles and tears well in her eyes. Haru, I can finally free you. Suddenly, a hand closes on Rin's from behind, and Akito has discovered her. Rin's eyes go wide with terror, and Akito silently seethes. The box falls. Oh, I get it, Rin thinks. Akito is like Mama when Mama gets mad. They get really mad. Akito is... I'm scared. Rin remembers Akito threatening her in the cat's room and cutting her hair. I don't ever want to see your face again, Akito says. What would you prefer, going outside or Hasaru's eyes being gouged out? Do you want to test me? Stop, Rin thinks. Don't do it. I'll stay here for the rest of my life. Haru, I'm sorry. It was my chance to find out how to break the curse, but it was all worthless. I'm worthless. I can't do a single thing right. You don't need someone like me. Rin lays on the ground. In the main house, Ren speaks to a maid. Oh my, so that's what happened to Suzu-chan? No wonder my wish hasn't been granted, she says. But do you really know how to break the curse, madam? The maid asks. Not really, Ren says with a smirk. How could I possibly know something like that? I did despise that girl, instinctively, you know, but I thought she might be a little more useful. Worthless children really are just worthless. Rin wakes up in the cat's room. Maybe Kureno in the hospital was all a dream. She lowers her head. Damn it, I wish I could have dreamed about Haru, she thinks. I wish I could have dreamed about crying to kind, gentle Haru. I am worthless. And she starts to cry. Out of nowhere, Haru kneels in front of her and pats her head, and she looks up. It's Haru, I'm dreaming about Haru, she thinks. I'm sorry, she says out loud. It was worthless. I couldn't find your happiness, Haru. I'm sorry. Haru says in the dream. Then that means your journey's over. Yeah, she says, her eyes squeezed tight. Then, he says, leaning close above her, welcome home. She opens her eyes wide. If your journey's over and you don't come back to me, I'll get lonely, Haru says. So lonely I won't know what to do with myself. Really? She says, then I guess I'll be going home soon. Haru smiles a soft smile and Rin smiles as she cries. I wish I could have gone back, she thinks. Wow, what a wonderful dream, she says. This isn't a dream, Haru says, and we see that Rin is laying on the sidewalk somewhere out in the real world. He quickly picks her up and carries her over his shoulder. I'm amazed you could even walk this far, he says. I looked everywhere for you. Everyone's worried. Rin notices some baby elementary school kids staring as they pass and blushes. Haru, I can walk, she protests. No, he says. I know I'm a punk kid. I didn't realize that you were hurting all alone, Rin. I figured that I'm worthless, but I'm also not as much of a kid as I used to be. I've grown up enough that I can carry you myself. I'm not giving up on you. Look, just walk the places you can by yourself and let yourself be carried when you can't. I'd rather carry you. You're not a burden, okay? And we see the narration, the end of a long journey. Rin starts to cry. Haru, she stutters. Yeah, he says. I'm home, she says. He looks back at her, and with the little kids watching in the background, he hugs her tight and says, welcome home. I'm not crying, you're crying. Let's do 107. That's next. Chapter 107 opens with Toru blushing and crying, despite trying not to, in silence in front of Rin, while Haru and Yuki sit to the side. Yuki smiles, and Haru stares at Rin with a I'm glad you became friends vibe. And Rin gets more and more nervous until she shouts, don't cry! And Toru's like, yes! Rin stands and shouts, how long are you going to sit in front of me sobbing your little eyes out? Yes, Toru says, and Yuki tells Haru to stop staring because it'll put too much pressure on Rin. Shisho comes in, and he says it's unusual for Rin to speak at that volume. Maybe she's in high spirits because her friend came to see her. And we see an adorable chibi panel of Toru surrounded by tiny flowers thinking, friend, and smiling in the most adorable, satisfied way, and then Rin just looks at her and then grinds Toru's forehead with her palm. They seem to get along, Shisho says, and Haru's like, yeah, and Yuki's like, we need to stop her. Toru narrates that Rin is back. She was in the hospital, won't tell her any details. Rin notices Toru looking at her hair. I just cut it because it was annoying, she lies. Quit staring at it. Toru looks at her, smiling, and thinks, just having her here, now, like this. And Toru takes Rin's hand and asks if she wants to go for a walk in the garden. Rin remembers speaking to Toru about breaking the curse and asking Rin if she knew a way. And while Rin and Toru are outside, Shisho, Yuki, and Haru chat. Rin will stay with Shisho while she recovers. She was locked up by Akito, right? Yuki asks. And her hair, Haru says. She doesn't want us to tell Honda-san. And she doesn't want to get mixed up with Akito again either. Yuki says that Haru was quick to decide all this. There's no place for Yuki to step in and cheer him up. It's okay. I love you, Haru says, and Yuki's like, please save those lines for Rin. Shisho asks where Rin was locked up. In the cats, Haru says, trailing off. I see, Shisho says, disheartened. The place where Kyo will be. He remembers Kyo in middle school crying and saying, I know. Later, Haru leaves, and he says Toru Toru worried about her more than any of the Sohmas, and Rin blushes a little. Amazing, huh? He says. Even Rin can know the warmth of friendship. There's nothing like that, she shouts and turns away. Haru says that he'd like to thank Kureno for rescuing her too, and thanks also for telling him what Rin said. Maybe if he hadn't, it would have ended up with me letting Rin go. Hey, he says, holding her arm on her shoulder. Don't do anything reckless on your own anymore, no matter the reason. And they hug. At Shigure's house, Kyo chats with Toru in the kitchen. Shisho likes to do things for people, so it makes sense for Rin to live there, and Toru remembers their conversation at New Year's about Rin and Kyo glaring at each other at New Year's when they were little. There's nothing for you to worry about, Kyo-kun. Shisho-san only has eyes for you. You are his life, Toru shouts with a clenched fist, and he's like, I wasn't worried about that. I guess it's a good thing his house is filling up, so Shisho won't get lonely down the line, Kyo says. Toru looks away and doesn't reply. Kyo leaves the kitchen and tells her to let him know if she'll be going to visit again tomorrow, and he leaves. Toru looks scared, and then approaches the living room where Shigure is, and Shigure removes his glasses. The next day, Toru does plan to visit, bearing a gift, and waves goodbye to her friends at school. At Shisho's house, Rin takes a broom to sweep up outside from Kunimitsu, who sasses her to take it easy. Much to Rin's utter delight, I'm sure, Shigure arrives to visit her, and he greets her with a, "Good lord, that was a disaster. I heard you went through quite the ordeal, and couldn't find a way to break the curse." Ren-san was supposed to tell me, Rin explains to Shigure as he sits himself down on the porch. Oh, please. She was lying through her teeth. Ren-san was going to tell you. She wouldn't know anything like that. She probably was using you for her own fight with Akito. You're lying, Rin says through a grimace. You don't have to believe me, but Ren-san and I are good friends. Really good friends, he says with a smile. Rin, I didn't come here just to give you a hard time. Your efforts prove fruitless, and I sympathize. So I thought I'd tell you something good. Rin looks away nervously, and he's like, What, you don't have to get your guard up. She sits beside him on the porch. Listen, he says, it's about our curse. It does break. Even if you leave it alone, it'll happen eventually. You don't have to be so desperate. Believe me, that promise, that bond from long, long ago, is already starting to fall apart. The day we're free will come eventually. We are the members of the Zodiac invited to the last banquet. Rin demands proof, and Shigure looks up with a smirk and notices that Toru has arrived and heard the last things he said. She stands shocked in the yard away from them. When is eventually? She asks. A few years? Or a few decades? That's no good. Toru looks away. Rin stands and shouts, What? No good? If he's telling the truth, then... But it's only eventually, Toru says. Eventually, someday, whatever, Rin shouts. If it'll break and we'll be free, then that's good enough for me. It beats being this way forever, damn it. But that's no good, Toru shouts. This spring, it has to be next spring. If not by then, it's no good. If not by then, Kyo-kun... And then realizing that she said more than she wanted to say, she runs off. Kyo, of all people, Rin says, and Shigure smiles ruefully. As Toru walks away around Shisho's house, she remembers what Kyo said the night before about his house filling up. If he continued with, when I'm not around, she thinks, it's so sad. Did he think those words, even unconsciously? Has he already gone? Has he already decided that he'll be going away? She sees Kyo working on something with Kunimitsu. He notices her and smiles. It's so sad, she thinks. She smiles a small smile at his, but looks down and clutches the bag that she was carrying to her chest, and tears well in her eyes. I'm so sad and lonely, she thinks, and the chapter closes on her narration. Don't go. And that's the end of 107.
Yay.
I'm not crying, you're crying again. I feel like every time we record, I'm like, what a roller coaster ride of emotions. But this time, very genuinely, what a roller coaster ride of emotions. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh yeah, things are getting better. Right? It's fine. At the end, it's like, oh, right, this part is happening now.
Yeah.
Oops. The last time we promised everything was going to be okay. I thought this was a shoujo.
That was a romance comedy.
Yeah, where's my rom-com? There's no com. There's a lot of rom in this chapter. But these two chapters. I was thinking that I wonder which episode of mine has the best voice acting. I'll have to go back and listen to some of them and find out. I suspect it might be one of the Rin ones. I feel like I was very much in character.
I think I remember being impressed with your...
Scared Rin?
Voice acting of, like, Rin's trauma flashbacks, so...
Traumatic screaming? Maybe that's really my forte.
Yeah.
It's a skill that I've been acquiring all this time. Rin has the most traumatic flashbacks, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, they all have, like, traumatic flashbacks, but hers have the most, like, screaming and shit, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, this trauma, let's talk about these. I guess speaking of Rin.
Mm-hmm.
I just look at my notes because I put discussion topics. What did we learn? And then I put that one maid is cray cray.
We learned to not do that.
Don't be an asshole. The moral of the story is don't lock anybody up in a room. It's not okay. None of it's okay.
Yeah.
I felt very good about Kureno's fight with the maid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, someone finally stood up to the mean maid.
Yeah.
The evil maid? That's what you called her, right?
Yeah. That's what I wrote in my notes.
She's pretty evil.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the time we're like, I can understand how this person could have this perspective. Like, you know, like, oh, Akito is mean, but I think I understand that, you know, her parents told her this thing and therefore she has these feelings. But, like, the maid has no excuse. The maid's just been brainwashed, it seems.
Yeah.
I guess money is a reason. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't even know it's money. She just seems to, like, she just buys wholeheartedly into the,
It's brainwashing.
yeah, the whole Zodiac, like, myth as it's been portrayed at this time.
Maybe she likes the power. She's like, I have the secret knowledge.
Yeah.
Spilling tea about this maid. I mean...
Yeah.
The maid with the bun, aka the evil maid, I feel like is a prominent character. This isn't her last scene in the series,
No.
I'll say without spoiling anything, where it's like... But I feel like this was... The maid is like the embodiment of like the quote, maybe like the quote unquote old ways of like, you know,
Yeah.
the curse and how people are supposed to treat Akito. And she's like, you live and die for Akito. I think it's interesting how she's like, you would just be monsters just like the cat if it wasn't for Akito. And it's like, is that true? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, that seems, I was going to say, like,
What a weird thing to say.
I mean, obviously there's no confirmation on if there's any truth to that, but that, like, that just reeks of, like, propaganda.
Totally.
Like, so.
But it's like, who was the one who was, you know, like passing on this propaganda? Is it like Akira? Is it?
I don't think so, because I think
So it's like Akito?
it seems to me that there's, like, kind of a long-running old guard of the family, like, that, like, kind of take care of the family, like, in the form of the maids and everything. That
It
are,
certainly
like,
seems
you know,
like
they're
that.
on the inside, even though they're not, like, directly related to the Zodiac. And,
Yeah, it
like,
seems
it
like
seems
that.
like they, like, have, you know, passed down those roles and beliefs and everything,
Yeah, it's
generation
like
after generation.
not just the ones who are possessed are the only ones who know.
Yeah, like, it kind of makes sense, like, if they, you know, like, you kind of had to guess that the family was, you know, less of a secret, like, way, way back in the day. And so, like, you'd imagine they would get some, like, kind of a follower base.
Yeah,
If you're like, oh, it's this family is, like, you know, touched by the gods, essentially. Like,
that's one interpretation. Yeah, it could be. Before they decided they needed to keep their shit a secret.
yeah.
That's true. I mean, they're known for being sort of like rich and powerful too, so it could be stemming from, I don't know. Yeah, also
Yeah,
their rich
it's like they're an old,
powerfulness.
powerful family, so I could see them having, like, you know, like, a long line of followers in addition to just the family itself.
Well, it certainly seems like the fact that the maids exist indicates that that's true in some way.
Yeah.
Like, they're beyond servants. Like, they're beyond, in this case, they're beyond just, like, helping around the family. Like, they clearly have a hand in, like, for example, raising Akito and
Yeah.
maintaining the boundaries of the curse and stuff. And, like, like, when Yuki's... I'm just thinking about how, like, when Yuki's mom brings him the first time, the maid is like walking them in to see Akito, and she's like, Yuki starts crying, and the mom's like, stop, and the maid is like, oh, they all cry when they meet Akito for the first time, and blah blah blah, like, as if she's always been around. She probably even knew that before Akito existed, you know?
Yeah, because she's older than all of the Zodiac members.
She's older than all the Zodiac members. She's older than Ren. She's older than... I assume she's older than Ren, than, like, Akira. I don't...
Yeah.
It's not... I mean, it's hard to tell, but...
Yeah, we haven't
he
seen
doesn't
much
seem
of
that
him,
old.
but, like,
He
we
died
assume
young,
he's
they say.
similar. Yeah, they say died young, and you assume he's around the same age as Ren.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Ren seems pretty young, too. Maybe it's just her evilness that keeps her alive. Her spookiness keeps her young. Was it last time that I said that she's like Ursula? I think so.
yeah.
Just full of good metaphors today. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that maid somehow feels like another main character. So, especially in this one. And the things that she says are very interesting and propaganda-y, like you said. I don't remember if there was something else that she said. That, like, you'd all be monsters like the cat was really interesting to me. She's just like, you have to live and die for Akito, and she was completely behind. But then it's like, so she's not cursed. She doesn't have the same, like, it's interesting because she doesn't have the same sort of, like, what we've seen as evidence of so far is that the bond is strong between, like, God and the Junichi.
Mm-hmm.
But this person is technically outside of the curse and is still, like, reinforcing all these things. Like, she's like, no, like, you're supposed to live and die for him.
Mm-hmm.
And Kureno's like, what are you talking about? Like, you know?
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, she's kind of like, I think she's like the real world cult aspect. Like, that kind of, like, you know, like, obviously these kind of things happen in the real world without zodiac curses, at least we assume.
What? No. At least we assume.
So, like, that kind of, like, you know, wholeheartedly believing in this, you know, cause and system around you and the, like, divinity of your, like, leader kind of thing. Like, that happens in real life cults, so.
Yeah, you're right.
Because she seems to, like, the way she talks, she seems to believe wholeheartedly what she's saying.
Totally.
Like, it doesn't seem like she's, like, being, like, cunning and just trying to keep a position or anything. She seems to fully believe.
Yeah, she doesn't show any hint of, like, remorse or anything, or, like, any kind of other emotion other than
Fanaticism.
What? Fanaticism?
Fanaticism.
Yeah. Yes. I was going to say trying to, like, tell him what's what, but I think fanaticism describes that in a way that's a lot clearer. Yeah, and, like, being like, I'm right and you're wrong. Like, steadfast in her beliefs, right? So,
yeah.
Not like the other maid who Kureno got the key from, who was like, you can't come here. And then she's like, just kidding. It's terrible, you know? So, where you could see a different reaction to, like, what was going on in this maid's case. I think it's all, she was behind everything Akito did and is just as offended as Akito is at Kureno taking Rin out of the cat's room and stuff.
Yeah.
But Kureno's like, what the fuck? Which is great.
Yeah.
Convenience store man strikes again. Let's talk about Ren. Can we do that? Unless there's more to say about the crazy maid.
I think that's pretty much it.
She's crazy. She's evil. So evil. Let's talk about Ren. Ren is really spooky, we said, I think, in the last...
Yeah.
We had a discussion about Ren, I think, in the spoilers, because we were going to talk about this scene. We were talking about this scene in the spoilers, and now it's now, so...
Yeah.
Now I can talk about it in the
non-spoilers. The scene where she pops up behind Rin is, like, terrifying.
So disconcerting. And she's so facetious. Like, she's so, like... I love, like, it seems kind of random, but I really like the memory that Rin remembers of her being like, oh, your family's so great, isn't it, Isuzu-chan? And you're like, ow! Like, Rin is holding the little, like, doll that she was holding when her parents went all, like, crazy on her, basically. Yeah,
I was trying to decide if that was supposed to be, like, after everything went bad and just, like, twisting the knife, or if it's supposed to imply that she caused Rin to question it before everything went bad.
I don't know, but either choice is
bad. Either way is terrible. But like, led to her being like, how come you're so happy all the time? Which
it's totally possible.
Yeah.
Because that is what Rin said to her parents.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I
can't decide which
one. Twisting the knife. But Rin didn't. It's almost like she didn't, like, question it at the time as a child. Like, you would think that if Ren had said that to her and that thing had happened, then she wouldn't necessarily act like that.
Yeah.
But it's almost like Rin's, like, realizing now that she said, you know, something. I don't know. Like, regardless, it's interesting. I don't really know what it's supposed to be implying about their relationship except that. And then later Ren is like, oh, Isuzu is terrible. Like... Yeah. And I never liked her instinctively. And it's like, what's wrong with you? What are you talking about?
Yeah, speaking of that line, I never thought of it before, but I wonder if, in the same way Rin reminds Akito of Ren, I wonder if Rin reminds Ren of Akito.
Maybe. They're also similar in age, and, like, they would have, you know, similar sort of, like, attributes, and the fact that Maybe she really thought that. I guess like one other interpretation of the memory is that Ren really thought that Rin had a good relationship, and she's like, oh, you have a good relationship with your family, like almost like she's envious of like the relationship that she could have with Akito. Maybe I don't know, if not for this crazy curse situation.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's the case, but I think it
No.
could make the argument that that's the case.
Yeah. Yeah. But like
Yeah,
what made
sure.
me especially think of it is like in the scenes where like Rin is like passed out on the ground, she kind of like really resembles Akito because she's got like the short hair and is wearing the
The
thing.
kimono. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're totally right. Akito cuts her hair and makes her more like Akito, which is kind of interesting and weird.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it last time, like why potentially Akito did it and like why, I don't know what was
Yeah.
the reason.
Like,
but
yeah, like it's not explicitly stated, but it's heavily implied that like a lot of Akito's special hatred for Rin is because she resembles Ren in some ways, because she's like specifically talked about like being disgusted by like her long black hair before she pushed her out the window in the earlier flashback.
Oh, and then speaking of Ren, the maid also hates Ren. She was like, you can't let that woman win. You don't think that girl should win. And I'm pretty sure there's like a memory of, it's kind of ambiguous. Like at first time I read it, I thought she was talking about Rin. But like, I think it's a memory of Ren. Hold on, wait. Let's check the text. Everyone turn to page whatever I'm about to say.
Yeah, I would say, because she's got that like, that drape around her.
Yeah.
Like Ren always has, doing her spooky ghosty walk.
Oh yeah, it's definitely Ren. What is this page? It's a couple pages into the chapter where Kureno's talking to the maid.
Yeah.
It's 139, 40, 41, 42, 43, 143 in the Tokyo Pup, volume 18. Yeah, there's a little. So she says that awful, disgraceful whore, but it's like over this panel of Ren in the background.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that maid also hates Ren. How interesting, I thought. Yeah. You think that people would be more respectful of Ren as like Akito's mother since they love Akito so much, but I guess because Akito hates her, then they have to hate her. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic. Like,
yeah.
And I guess she does technically have respect. Like, she has maids that tend to her and stuff too. She tells Isuzu that she gets followed around by the maids and stuff, though, so she makes it seem like it's more of a burden rather than a pleasure to have the maids around her.
Yeah. It's kind of a like almost like out of obligation, she has to have like some respect, but like,
yeah, she's still at the top of the family tree or the family hierarchy rather.
Yeah.
But it also seems like they follow her around like they're babysitting her, not like they're not serving her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to Akito, where they're like, oh, the maids are like bringing her food.
Yeah, it's sort of like
oh, she
a
can't
like
eat. Oh, we have to tend to her, you know? Like,
yeah, like I think from like Akito and like the evil maid's perspective, it'd be like, this is like the best we can do is like just kind of try to keep her quiet and out of trouble. And...
that does seem like what it is like, because she's often a like special part of the house, sneak around part of the house.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things where they're like, oh, take her back to her room, and like...
exactly, like they kind of like keep her away.
Yeah,
which is interesting too.
Yeah,
it's potentially like, oh, they keep her away because like Red and Akito fight, but like I think they keep her away because Akito doesn't like her, you know. So, but anyway, I just thought it was interesting. The maid was also like, no, can't let that girl win. We can't let her win in her assertion that the curse is bullshit, that I also believe in because I'm the maid, the one brainwashed maid. Anyway, yeah, her appearing behind Rin is spooky, and then Akito does the same thing. Everybody be sneaking up behind everybody. Yeah, in these chapters.
Yeah, both of those are terrifying. Like,
I know.
Something about Akito's like completely calm face.
Oh,
it's just like
very disconcerting.
Yeah.
I was like, how to describe this? Should I just say it's completely calm? Because so I wrote seethes internally, I think, in my description because it looks like she's like so mad she's not even making a face. Yeah. And then even in the like when she takes Rin to the room and is like cutting her hair and shit, then she also she has like kind of a neutral face as well, a neutral expression as well, and she's like, what, you want to get out of here? You want me to gouge Hasaru's eyes out? You want to find out which one I'm gonna do or whatever, with like no expression. It's
Yeah,
really creepy.
and it's like we've seen Akito like screaming mad before, so
Oh yeah,
like it's not
on
like
multiple
that's
occasions.
it's not like that's like how she gets mad. Like this is like
It's like
beyond
beyond
that.
that.
Like
I don't remember what she was like during the scene where she pushed Rin out of the window, but I wonder if it was the same. I just can't remember offhand.
he was pretty calm in
Yeah.
that scene too.
Yeah. But then, like, in the scene with, like, Haru, she was, like, really yelling at Haru, I guess.
Yeah.
When she was like, oh, are you accusing me of whatever? And, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that was freaky.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Yeah, it's amazing how terrifying it managed to be, considering it's like we already know this happened. We
I know.
she got caught by Akito and locked in the room.
We
and,
know
like,
that Ren told
tormented
her.
for weeks.
Ren
But
bribed her to go to find the box, and then Akito tortured her for who the fuck knows how long. It's hard to tell.
yeah,
It was when the timeline is that she saw we talked about this also in spoilers, I think, that she saw Kureno and Toru together, and then, which we saw in the chapter, and then went to the main house and got caught. So however long it was in between that time and now, that's how long she was in the cat's room.
yeah.
So fucked up. I wonder how many times in these two episodes I was just like, that's so fucked up.
Yeah.
I have little to say otherwise. The other thing about all this is, like, Ren didn't even know how to break the curse. Of course she didn't know anything. She was just like, I want the box from Akito. But I like how everybody knows that Rin's trying to break the curse. Huh?
The box.
The lid. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no mention of tightly closed lids, though. This is a different box.
Yes.
It's not a metaphorical box like the tightly closed
It's a
lid.
real
This
box.
is a real box. We don't know what's in the box, or it's just Ren describes it as a treasure.
And something that's rightfully hers.
Yeah. Something that
Something
Akito
that-
and Ren fight over.
Yeah. That Akito's massively pissed off at
Apparently.
Rin
Well,
trying to steal. So.
I think because Akito knows that Rin wouldn't just do that. Like, it's not like... I think it's something that's, like, between Ren and Akito. Like, I don't think it's something that the Zodiac really know about. It's, like, hidden away, and, like, Rin wouldn't know about it. I would assume, at least. That's, like, that's conjecture, not necessarily in the canon. I don't think she would have known unless Ren told her. So Akito would be like, can't believe Ren fucking told you to do this thing.
Yeah.
Which makes it even worse. Like, it makes it even... Probably why she's, like, super mad about... In addition to just hating Rin in general. So, I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the reason, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rin doesn't know anything. And then I love how Shigure comes in at the end and is like, Ren doesn't know anything, and I would know. Because we're lovers.
Yeah.
We did talk about that before, right? Yeah, we did. Okay.
Yeah.
Not a spoiler.
Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah, like he's like, we're friends. Really good friends.
It's like, thanks, Shigure, you didn't need to rub it in. Like, you didn't need to emphasize it so much. Fucking bragging. Rin is, it's so sad how Rin is so trusting. Where she's like, or maybe she's just desperate. I don't know. But she's like, Ren promised to tell me the secret. Like, without ever thinking, like, she probably doesn't know anything. Like, of course, how could she know? But I guess Rin wouldn't know, because Rin doesn't know her, like, Akito and, you know, like, Hattori and Shigure and probably know her, right? Like, other than Shigure, you know, carnally knowing her. She doesn't have any
I feel like
friends
it's
as a
like,
non-adult, I guess.
yeah, I feel like it's like just plausible enough that Ren might know something.
Yeah, totally.
For Rin to like latch onto that.
She's the mom.
It's like, sure, it's like, you know, she's Akito's mother and she's kept hidden away and
Yeah, there's no reason that she wouldn't know something about the curse. ... The
yeah.
secret is that really none of them know anything about the curse.
Yeah.
Like, nobody knows how they came to be cursed. Nobody knows. Like, I think they even said, right? Like, Shigure was like, we don't know. It's just a thing that happens. Nobody knows, like, why, you know, Tori's a seahorse instead of a dragon.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, even we have that scene where Rin's, like speculating on, like, the origin of the curse. Like, no one really knows.
And, like, she was digging around in all the, like, records and stuff, like, trying to find something, like, written as if there's, like, notes or something.
Yeah.
But I don't think... neither she nor Shigure turned anything up about the curse. Except Shigure knows that Kureno's curse is broken, which he didn't tell her, but he was like, it'll break. And Rin just, like, was like, you're lying. But, I mean, you know, that's not shocking. Now we have this interesting situation. This is the drama that I signed up for in the shoujo, for sure, where Toru knows things and, like, Shigure knows and Kureno knows, but, like, nobody else knows, and then they feel like they can't tell people shit.
Yeah, it's like everyone knows something slightly different and knows that other people know some things, but not not everything they know.
Yeah. Nobody's put together any of all the pieces yet.
Yeah.
Drama. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the best part. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, just that part, the part where Ren is so creepy, being like, "Yeah, just go get the thing for me." Well, first of all, she's like, "Oh, you just like snuck in here?" Like she's so casually creepy. I don't know what it is about her that makes her so creepy.
Yeah, and like that line is super creepy. If it's like I don't know what the original is, but that's like a good creepy translation choice. Like, did you sneak here on your tippy toes? Like,
I don't know. I didn't bring the Japanese version with me, but I can double check later. Just for you, though.
Yeah.
Not for everybody else. You guys have to suck it up.
I mean, it's just like a great creepy line.
It is, because it's like, and also the fact that like Rin's sneaking around and Ren sneaks up on her. So like, how fucking creepy is it that she's like, wafting around like a ghost in the in the house? Like nobody notices her until she's like creeped up behind you. Like what the fuck? Like it's. I'm telling you, she's a witch. She's the sea witch. She took Rin's voice. And she's like, "Oh, I'll make you a bargain." I made a note to myself that says, Rin is on a hero's journey. These are the trials of Rin. She's like tempted by the knowledge that potentially exists, and then does something stupid and then gets caught and trapped. That was her in the cat's room. That was Rin's journey through hell. Listen. I've done it. I've written the master thesis. But like she's really creepy. I don't know what it is about her. I don't know how Takaya manages to make her so creepy, but
yeah,
it's the way it is, like partially her like dialogue and the way that she just like shows up and the way that she acts. Like everything is she acts so like nonchalant.
Yeah.
About using Rin in a way that she knows is going to be super dangerous and stuff. Like
yeah, and the way she reacts, like when she like learns what happened, she's like, "Oh, so that's why I haven't gotten my box." Like,
yeah. Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
What else could have happened, you psycho?
Yeah.
And Rin's, I guess it's also like hard. It's extra harsh for us because we know that's like Rin's desire to break the curse isn't for herself. It's because she wants to break it for Haru. So it's like she's trying so hard to do this something for someone that she cares about, and then you have this other person who comes along and then like manipulates her into getting in trouble, trying to do the thing that she cares about for someone else. So it's like multiple layers of earnestness on top of, and then you have this scene, other person.
Yeah, the scene where she finds the box and just looks so happy.
I know, for like 2 seconds, the Akito shows up. Oh, it's so heartbreaking. I'm not crying, you're crying. I already said it. She's like, I finally have like the key, and then Akito's hand. It's just like the next panel is like Akito's hand on hers, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to read anymore. So let's talk about Haru and Rin. That's probably the next thing to talk about, right?
Get a little happier for a bit.
Yay! Oh, we could talk about the other bad stuff first, if you want, but chronologically for the episode, then it would be Haru being great and Rin being great. I always really enjoyed this part where Haru finds her. And she's like, "What a great dream." And he's like, "It's not a dream." It's like, what?
Yeah. But yeah, it's sweet. He finds her and takes her home like he did when he was little, except this time he can carry her.
Yes. I thought it was interesting how both of them were like, "I'm worthless. No, I'm the one who's worthless."
Yeah.
Haru's like, "I'm a worthless punk kid, and I didn't realize that you were hurt. I ignored the fact that you were getting hurt because of me." And Rin is like, "I tried to find your happiness, and I'm worthless." And they're both like, "It's okay." Haru finally got to tell her that it's okay, and she doesn't have to do things on her own anymore. Yay. Yay.
Followed hero's advice.
From the mouth of babes. Or whatever.
But I really like that bit where
like,
she thinks she's dreaming and she's like apologizing, saying that she couldn't do it, and he's like, "Well, I guess that means your journey's over, so you should come home," which is sweet.
It's very cute. It's great too because the chapter opens with her being like, "I need to go back, but where to go back to?" There's another little weird nuance in the dialogue that I just remembered that's kind of a Akito Ren situation. So in the actual Tokyo Pop edition that we were reading, it says Akito was like Mama. When Mama got mad, they were really mad. And then it says Mama was Akito was mad. So I checked in. I was like, this is a weird thing to say, so I checked in both the new translation and the Japanese, and I feel more comfortable with the translation that it says that I wrote, which is that it says Akito is like Mama when they get mad, they're really mad or something like that. And then it says Mama is Akito is, which is like the translation that's in the new version of the translation, the Yen Press one. Which that's not the part that's interesting about it. The part that's interesting about it is that she says she has this one like dark dialogue box that says Mama is or Mama was, and then it says Akito was, which is just interesting. A weird. Is it like Rin is just thinking about the way that her mom and is it she's just thinking about how her mom and Akito are similar? Is it like a realization that they're so similar that is it supposed to be some kind of realization about Akito's being a woman? Is it like just is it some kind of like connection to her past? We have like the doll imagery again too in that one scene, like everything kind of falling apart. I don't know, it's kind of a but it's just interesting. It's like I just don't know like what are the why choose these specific imagery of the doll again, and like why bring up her
it's
mom
kind
at
of
this
in
point.
yeah, it's kind of interpreted as like in her like like half delirious dream state, she's kind of like jumbling up her like traumatic memories and getting kind of confused. Like,
Well, she has a lot to choose from, so
yeah,
um maybe because she also has the memory also of Ren. It seems like it's supposed to be presenting it as being a memory of Ren during the time where she's meeting with Ren. You know what I mean? Because that one part is sort of presented coherently, but then all these other memories around it are sort of like incoherent. So maybe they're all sort of getting kind of related. I don't know.
Yeah.
Interrelated. Her interrelated trauma. Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting, weird little thing that's in there.
Yeah. Her soup of trauma.
Delicious trauma. What were we actually talking about? We were talking about
Haru
Rin,
and Rin.
just Haru and Rin.
Yeah. I like the little kids watching them.
I called them baby babies. I went back on my statement where I said that we get it depends on when they get introduced. I decided that these two require being called baby babies. They have those like Japanese like elementary school uniforms that have the little hats like that.
Yeah.
They have their little school hats. It's really funny and cute. There's other memories of her with the doll too, like where at the end where Haru's carrying her, there's another little memory of her as a little girl holding the doll with like a giant bandage on her face.
Yeah.
That's depressing. Okay, should we talk about? So that was great. I don't have very much to say about it except it was adorable.
Yeah.
That's the shoujo we were promised.
Yeah. It's the like.
It's the conclusion.
It's the conclusion of a lot of things we've seen from both of them, separately and together. So.
They both had their own insecurities about their relationship, and now they're settled.
And they're like talking to each other and stuff at the end and everything. So I'm trying to.
There's like Haru says he wishes he'll thank Kureno he wants to thank Kureno for rescuing Rin, and also he thinks like, oh, and if he hadn't told me that thing, I might have just like let her go, which is always like it's a line I didn't really pick up on before.
It seems like another like thing about like the bond like we were talking about, like kind of holding them back and stuff, because he says like he remembers Kureno saying to like go and don't come back, and also remembers Akito saying don't go, and says that like if Kureno hadn't said that, he's not sure if he would have like just let Rin go. So
yeah, I don't know. It's just also another little small interesting line. That's something I didn't really pick up on in previous reading through this chapter. So it is a nice reminder of the bond. We saw it in the chapter with Haru, but it's nice that he reiterates it again here too.
Yeah, and we see that like in the conversation with Yuki, where Haru's like basically willing to like let go of how angry he is just for Rin's sake. And he says like she's scared of getting mixed up with Akito again, and I don't want to make her deal with him either. And Yuki praises him for like being so mature and everything. It's like I didn't even have time to step in and cheer you up.
That's Haru's job. Everybody knows that. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, it was very cute.
Yeah.
He's like, you did good. I like that Rin gets to stay at Shisho's house.
Yeah, good dad Shisho to the rescue.
And like good older brother Kunimitsu? Question mark.
Yeah. I like he's like if you like don't take it easy, I'm telling, or whatever he says.
Yeah. He's like, Tori said you have to take it easy. It's really funny.
It's cute how cheerful Kunimitsu is about all these little trauma children coming to the dojo.
Well, he probably knows Rin too because he's been around the dojo forever, and she used to stay there too. Shisho, where they talked about it at New Year's, I guess. So
yeah,
he probably knows her. Doesn't she? He yells at her when she comes in, and doesn't take her boots off, and goes to ask Shisho about the curse. He's like, everybody comes in here and doesn't take their shoes off. You and Hiro, these Soma children think they can run all over the place in this dojo with their shoes on. Now we can talk about the scene with Toru and Rin. Right?
Yes.
I do love Haru staring at the little like lines that are like, I'm glad you made a friend. I'm so glad that you made a friend who worries about you. It's really cute. And Rin is like, stop crying.
Yeah. I love the tiny little chibi panels where Toru's so happy at being called Rin's friend.
I was just about to say that. She's like, friend? And Rin looks at her and is like, I don't know about any of this.
Yeah, the unamused chibi Rin.
Yes.
But then they hold hands and go walk in the garden.
Yes, it's cute. It's very sweet. And Tori's like, I'm just happy that she's here. And starts to crying again.
Yeah.
So there's this little, I just noticed just now when I was looking at it, where Rin like rubs her forehead, and then Toru's like looking at her hair, and she's like, oh, she won't tell me the details, and you can see like a little like rub mark on her forehead too. It's very cute. They have to go in the garden to talk about their curse business.
Yeah.
Obviously. I love how embarrassed Rin is, the fact that Haru brings up that she has a good friend. Like he's like, even Rin can know the warmth of friendship.
Yeah.
Which we talked about last time. There isn't like a lot to say about Toru. I mean, it's also just a resolution of their like Toru being like, I have a bad feeling, and being like, I'm worried, and like asking Yuki to ask Haru where she is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Your intuition was right. That's nice how Toru is just like there for her.
Yeah. Like she knows she's like keeping stuff to herself, not telling her everything, but she's just happy that she's back and
theoretically okay.
Yeah.
In the later part of this chapter, of course, we have all the things about her and Kyo and her Toru being sort of upset about, you know, Kyo being locked away for various reasons. Yeah. Of course, you know, mostly because she's cares about him and whatnot. So I feel like you could even kind of connect them together a little bit thematically. Like, you know, if Rin didn't come back, it would be another person who had just left from Toru's life, right? Who'd been removed from her life. So you have this sort of like little...
in the same place.
In the same... Yeah, actually, yes. She doesn't know that, but... I guess they don't know that she knows about the cat's room. But Shisho knows, right? Yeah. But I guess they wouldn't want to tell her. Yeah, Shisho knows that Toru knows because Toru told him.
Conversation. Yeah.
It's the web of deception I was just talking about earlier. Yeah. So they just don't want to tell her, I guess. Of course, Rin doesn't want her to know. Rin wants to protect her.
Yeah. She's delicate, it also just seems like a thing that, like, they're all uncomfortable talking about in general.
Yeah, this is you mentioned it last time in the spoilers, and I think it's kind of manifesting where they're like, yeah, she was in the cat's room, and the only one who says anything is Shisho, who's like, oh yeah, the place where Kyo will be, and then Haru, there's this like panel of like silent Yuki and Haru, which I don't think I talked about in the like summary specifically, because sometimes it just takes some time to say, and they were silent.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have an obvious reaction to it. That's not good, and it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Shisho has a very sort of uncomfortable, rueful smile.
Yeah.
As we're used to saying all the time, but in particular, this time.
Yeah, and it seems like he obviously has like a, you know, upset reaction to the reminder of the cat's room, but then he like specifically has that kind of smile in response to looking at Yuki and Haru's reaction. Which is interesting.
Yeah. Haru's sitting what we're talking about, I guess, because it wasn't described before, is they're all sitting at the table together. Haru's sitting with his hand kind of like covering his mouth, and Yuki's looking like across the table, but like not really at Haru and like not really at Shisho.
Yeah.
They're kind of just in their own thoughts about it. And yeah, you're right. That smile reaction is a reaction to them. There's a little
Yeah,
panel
because we
of
see
him
a
like
panel
looking
of
at
you
Yuki.
see a panel of Shisha looking at them, and then
It's sort of a weird like roof. It's beyond. It has like a lot of mixed emotions in this one expression.
yeah.
Like maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's like almost hopeful, but kind of like I don't know if it's possible that anything will change.
Mm-hmm.
But just
Yeah.
seeing them kind of like having that reaction in the first place, it's probably different, especially if you consider the like crazy evil maid people,
Yeah.
or the ones who he's been around. Like he was, and he knows what it's like to. He visited the cat's room and visited his grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
he's actually been there and would know,
Mm-hmm.
would have heard the family talking about how he needed to be confined there and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, because it does seem like Yuki and Haru react negatively to the idea of the cat's room in general, but then they like have a further reaction to Shisho saying the place where Kyo will be.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe part of the reaction is like it's nice to know that people care about Kyo
Mm-hmm.
and that they're clearly uncomfortable with the cat's room.
Yeah, I could see it being like he's realizing like some things are changing
Mm-hmm.
in how the family is reacting to this idea.
Yeah. All this from 3 panels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's the kind of over analysis people come here for, right?
yeah, right? You're right, Kayla. What was I thinking? We should talk about it for 5 more minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, the way the shadow falls on his face. No.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about all the texture.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting though. It's a little interesting moment. These
Yeah.
couple chapters have a lot of really nice moments. Another one that I really liked is Toru. So what happens is, so after this scene that we're talking about, they leave and whatever, and Toru's talking to Kyo, and he brings up the fact, he's like, "Oh, it's good that Shisho's house is filling up," and then he just kind of leaves the conversation, and Toru, we see her face, but he doesn't. That she's super, like, petrified. And then there's this little scene at the end of that where there's no dialogue or anything, and you see her walk. It's like the shot is behind Shigure sitting at the table. Her feet are you see her feet on the floor in the kitchen, like coming up behind him, and he kind of like clearly notices over his shoulder and takes off his glasses like he's going to talk to her. And then there's nothing else in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know why, I just really like this. Like, do you think they had a
Yes.
conversation? Like,
I don't know. I never really thought about if they might have had a conversation because he also doesn't seem shocked when she shows up at the end.
yeah.
But it reminded me of right after she learned about Kureno's curse being broken and like tried to
Yeah.
talk to him and then left and he
She's
was
like,
like, I
"I'm gonna go
understand
get
it's a
tea."
difficult topic to bring up.
Yeah, but in a more serious way. Like,
Yeah. Like it seemed like the same kind of situation where like she was like approaching him like almost about to
say,
like
yeah.
ask something and like maybe doesn't quite and he's aware of that.
Maybe that's possible. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know, because he doesn't seem surprised that she comes to visit Shisho's house, but she
Yeah.
seems surprised about the curse. So he definitely didn't tell her about that.
Yeah.
So I don't think they had a conversation.
No.
It does seem like she was just like hovering there, but
Mm-hmm.
he took off his glasses. That's how
Yeah.
you know
It
it's
could be
serious.
interesting though, like if they did like
I wonder what about.
as like a missing scene fanfic kind of thing. You know.
Someone write it. I wonder what it would be.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, she would probably just be like, "I know all this shit," and he'd be like, "Me too."
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're not wrong, but you're not right. Shigure also has
Yeah.
another really interesting. So there's like, I mean, I guess now we're talking about Shigure, but like he goes and talks to Rin,
Yeah.
right? The scene that we all remember, and then Toru comes, and then one other thing that I forgot is like, so she's like, she says, she's like, it'll be too late for like Kyo, and then trails off and runs away, and like Rin is like, really, Kyo? And then Shigure has this also equally sort of rueful expression.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the
Yeah.
regret that you all want me to see? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it seemed like it was, so Shigure, invited her to live in the house. And I think we probably talked about this a lot during some earlier spoilery discussion about Shigure.
Mm-hmm.
What was his motivation for her living in the house? what was he trying to do? And I mean, there's also his like comedic insinuation about watching their romances unfold during the summer and stuff like that. That was in the anime that we just saw, and like in the earlier pre-beach chapters. Is this like the culmination of that? Is this like him feeling, like the person? Not that he was. I don't think he was trying to orchestrate any of them to actually like. It's not like he was matchmaking Toru with Yuki or Kyo, right? But the way that it ended up is he somehow feeling regretful about that? Like, why this emotion here? I'm interrogating the microphone.
Yeah.
Tell me.
I could see it being as kind of the start of like some kind of like, I don't know if regret's the right word, but like like feeling a little bit bad about like the like negative ramifications of like everything he's done, like
Maybe.
that he maybe didn't think all the way through would get to this point.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think we've seen him being like a little bit like he's always been kind of aware, but like more like feeling bad aware of like the effects this is all having on Toru.
Yeah.
Being like pulled into this world.
Yeah, it's easier to see it when she's like screaming in front of you, actually, as opposed to being like him being like, I'll get Kureno to deal with this. And
yeah, like he doesn't seem surprised when like Toru shows up there, but he does seem a little bit surprised at like how strongly she's like reacting in that scene.
Yeah, he seems to be surprised.
Because like
during their discussion.
yeah, like when she and Rin start like shouting at each other, kind of like he looks a little surprised and then goes into that kind of regretful look.
He actually, when she arrives, he looks kind of happy. He like smirks.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if you look back, it's like you see her shoes in the one panel, and then he notices. It's like the scene where he notices that she's there, and then he kind of smiles, and then she starts to have this argument with Rin.
Yeah.
And then he does look. He's kind of like intrigued, and then more taken aback, and then sort of moderately regretful.
It kind of seems like he's almost like, well, I was joking about it earlier, but now that it's happening, it's less funny than I thought it would be.
Yeah, exactly. It's less entertaining than I thought.
Yeah.
This isn't exactly how I wanted things to go. Like, the thing is that he and Rin are satisfied by this situation. Maybe, at least that's what it seems like in this conversation. Maybe he thought, so Kureno calls him and is like, yeah, the curse is gonna break. My curse is broken. So why did he go and orchestrate getting her to talk to Kureno? Was he like, oh, this will be good. Toru will know the curse is gonna break. Like, did he think that maybe it was a good thing for her to... Did he think it would maybe be like a hopeful situation for her? And then the actual outcome is that she's even more concerned about Kyo, and he's like, maybe like, oh shit, that's not what I thought was happening.
Yeah, I don't know if he necessarily expected it to like specifically make her happy, but I don't think he expected it to make her upset.
Yeah.
Like, you think like when he like let her like, helped arrange her meeting with Kureno, it was more just kind of going along with it to see how things would go. Because he's that kind of person.
He's
like
known for that, yes.
But yeah, I think like he didn't even think like it didn't occur to him that like she would be upset by it in this way.
Yeah, perhaps. It probably didn't occur to him that she would really care that much about Kyo, too. I think that he's one of the people in the family who... He's moderately nice to Kyo, but I don't think he cares that deeply about his situation. I mean, we talked before about how he's motivated mostly by himself.
Yeah, it kind of seems like even if none of them are, like, outwardly hostile to Kyo, like, it seems like some of them in the past would have been toward the cat. It does seem like especially the older members of the Zodiac are more like, well, that's the way it is. Like,
yeah.
Because that's just kind of how it's been told to them their whole life, so it doesn't seem like that, like, upsetting, especially since none of them, like, knew Kyo when they were younger. Because he was, like, kept isolated, where it seems like the younger ones are having a stronger reaction because, like...
Well, they have a relationship with him.
They're younger, they have a relationship with Kyo, they've, interacted with him from younger ages, so...
So maybe this is a unanticipated consequence.
Yeah,
like,
so, like, I think he like
see this happening this way.
Yeah, because like I don't think he doesn't hate Kyo, but like I think he's just like never been like as on his radar as other members of the family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Or like I agree with
because he's not as strongly tied up with the stuff he cares about since he's like isolated from the family. So
Toru and Shigure's goals are very different.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they all have the same, like,
Yeah, they have the same
Shigure and
goal,
Rin
just
and-
different
yeah,
reasons.
completely different reasons.
Yeah, it's kind of fascinating, actually.
It
Like to
is.
have like that last scene with the three of them there. They're like the
Yeah.
three who like actively seem to be interested in breaking the curse, but for very different reasons and with very different like motivations behind it.
Yeah. But then you get this conflict now. It's a new conflict
Mm-hmm.
where they now. I mean, I don't know if it's a conflict. It's a fight that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Rin Toru's like, it's not good enough, and Rin is like, it is good enough, and Shigure is like, interesting. Like,
Yeah.
like that's kind of the
Mm-hmm.
summary of what happened.
Yeah, it is like almost a shouting match. I mean, it's one of the most
She never
aggressive like
argues.
reactions we've seen from Toru to
It's-
anything. Like even just her interrupting their conversation like that is pretty un-Toru like.
Mm-hmm.
Like she just like comes in and is like, "When is eventually?"
Yeah.
Like,
Give me some more details immediately about
yeah.
this conversation. I'm just trying to think if there was a time where she was even more shouty. I'm not going to say, it doesn't feel like different from other things. Like, she pushed Akito the first time they met.
Mm-hmm.
Never forget. But, like,
Yeah.
to get in a shouting match with someone
Mm-hmm.
seems a little newer, like a different behavior.
Yeah, and someone she's on good terms with. Like
Totally.
this isn't like, yeah, and like she doesn't back down from it. Like when
No.
she pushed Akito, she like immediately was like, "Sorry, we have
Oh,
to go to
sorry.
class." Like
Yeah.
like trying to kind of like be like, "Oh shit, like what did I just do?" kind of thing. But in this case, she's like, no, that's not good enough.
Yeah, and then she just leaves.
Yeah,
The conversation isn't resolved.
yeah, she doesn't like back down or take anything back. She just like realizes she's revealing a little more than she wants to, and
That's certainly what it seems
gets out of
like.
there.
That's the way that I chose
Yeah.
to interpret it, technically.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess she kind of. I can think of like other times where it seems like she's yelling. Like if we're
And-
interpreting it's hard to know because it's not spoken. But like,
Yeah,
it'd be like when she's trying to yell at Kyo in his true form and stuff. It's always trying to be like encouraging. This is like it's like argumentative.
Yeah.
It's a disagreement. It's not like I think this and I'm trying to convince you. It's like that's not good enough. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I also want to say when I say reveals more than she wanted to, I think even to herself, like
Yes.
like
Yeah.
she didn't like I don't think she knew that was going to come out of her mouth until it did. Like
I think she was trying to cover it, keep it real deep down inside. I'm sure we
Yeah.
talked about it a lot in spoilers before, where it's like, clearly she's like, I'm just gonna pretend I don't have these feelings. I'm just gonna, you know. Yeah, I don't think so too. She gets really upset, and then it does seem like there's like a whole reaction panel of her face before she walks away.
yeah, like all three of them look shocked, including Toru.
Yeah. Especially Toru.
Yeah.
It's full white iris shock, and then empty eye shock, and then slightly less empty eye shock, then just like embarrassed shock, and then she goes and sees Kyo. It's like admitting to herself that it seems like this is the time where she finally enables herself to admit to herself that she's in love with Kyo. Like,
Yeah.
but not in a way that's sort of beneficial to her feelings. Actually, like,
Yeah.
it's more stressful than anything else. The last
Yeah.
like, things at the end are like, yeah, if you go away, then I'll be lonely. It has nothing to do. Doesn't seem like a positive feeling at this point in time.
Yeah. It's a really good scene.
It's like that's my rant. I'm gonna go lay down now. I've said what I need to
Yeah.
say. Now I need to sleep. I mean, what?
Yeah.
It is good. It's one of my favorites. I think. I don't know why. It's just an interesting way to reveal something about. It's like we can see the way that she's feeling, and we know Ren. I mean, we know Rin and like Shigure's. I feel like we know what Shigure's motivation is at this. Kind of know. I mean, it's something to do with he wants to break the curse so that he can have, like, I guess some kind of. He's envious of other people's relationship with Akito, and maybe breaking the curse would change that. I think that's kind of like the motivation that we've seen up to this point that we could say comfortably.
Yeah.
Rin,
I think that and like wanting to like sort of break the bond for Akito's sake also when he's like had the conversation with Kureno where he's like, don't you think you should
Yeah.
like let her go for her sake kind of thing.
Yeah. These are the things that people try to also convince me that make Shigure good. I hear you, okay?
Yeah. I 100% believe that he believes that. I don't think it makes him a good person, but It does make him very interesting.
It does. And also, like, I think another thing that reinforced that is when Kureno thought the same thing. He had that reaction when Akito was like saying the stuff after Haru left. And didn't he remember Shigure's call? I forget.
I don't think it's explicitly said, but I think we see like that kind of
certainly tired of the
that kind of like almost like resigned look he has, as if like maybe this is like not great.
It does seem kind of like maybe I shouldn't indulge this person anymore.
Yeah.
Especially then you also have the follow-up conversation with the maids too, where the same situation is happening, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" You know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and the fact that he encourages Haru to go and not look back.
Yeah, I think we're even seeing a little change in Kureno. I don't know. I guess it's hard to tell because we don't really see him interact with the other characters that much. Like, would he have told anybody else? Would he before have told someone to leave, or is it just because of now? Is this like the final? Is this the straw that broke the Kureno's back? Is that what it is? Tying someone up, locking someone up in the cat's room. That was the final straw. Now he's just like, no, this behavior.
I do feel like, I do feel like in the past, if someone were like angrily leaving Akito and Akito's begging them to stay, he would just kind of like look away and not say anything.
Maybe.
But just like now that this has happened, he's like,
no, you should go.
This isn't okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's still going around doing sort of like damage.
Like he probably would feel bad. Like this is. He probably would still feel like this isn't okay at the time, but I don't think he'd do anything about it in the past.
Maybe. It seems different. He seems different. Convenience store man. He's growing a spine.
Yes.
But it is a cool. I don't know. It's just a cool scene to have the three of, and also like Toru, Rin, and Shigure were connected before, but Toru and Shigure weren't necessarily kind of like. Toru went around Shigure to learn more about the curse. Like she talked to Rin, and then she also talked to Shisho, and kind of like got other information from people other than Shigure. So, yeah, you finally have all three of them together.
Yeah, I think it may also be like the first time Toru's seen like any of Shigure's kind of like real self. Just by, like, catching the end of this conversation.
Maybe.
Because she's always just seen him as like, like a, nice adult who's letting her, live in his house and everything. And like he's mostly, maintained that in front of her, but
not someone who's like, what was the part where she showed up? I was just thinking like, how far into the conversation did she show up?
It has to be fairly early because she specifically says when is eventually, and like that's like at the start of their like, right when like Rin sits down to listen to him.
Rin sits down. Her feet are visible, and he says the day where free will come eventually. Come on, we're the members of the Zodiac who are invited to the final banquet.
Yeah.
And Rin's like, stop toying with me, and then he notices her. So he said all that stuff. But I guess it's kind of, if she was there sooner, she didn't ask anything about the bond or whatever. Like, he's probably realizing some things that Toru knows that maybe he didn't know that she knows. That might also be part of all this, which is kind of interesting too.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's good.
Real juicy. The drama that I wanted. The shoujo drama that I want. It's like the reason why I read so much of what was that terrible shoujo?
Hot Gimmick.
Yes. I'm just in it for the crazy drama. There is nothing else about that series that.
No. Hey, I read the whole thing, so
Did
I
you
can't
really?
say anything.
I don't remember how much of it I read. But I'm sure whatever happened, it was just the same as.
I'm just like,
the rest.
Just like every volume, I'm just like, it's so bad, and continue to read.
That's what makes it great.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, this is much more juicy than that because we've seen the build up for so long.
Yeah.
It's not just like random weird shit that's happening in dramatic people's lives. Sometimes it'd be nice to forget things. I mean,
hey, there's a place in this world for terrible, overdramatic shoujo.
Yeah, it's like the bodice busting, Victorian novel equivalent of manga, I guess.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to read fun trash.
It is trash. That's
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I don't know what I'm saying.
We can't all read great literature all the time.
What? Is there any other things that you want to talk about that weren't spoilery? I think we certainly talked about the big things. And also the teeny tiny things.
Yeah. For 20 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, in that case, I think let's chat about spoilers, and then, yeah, we'll see you all next time. Unless you're not sticking around for spoilers, we'll see you next time for chapters 108 and 109.
Bye-bye.
Yay, bye. I wonder what's happening in 108 and 109. I definitely haven't checked.
I looked at it, but I can't remember.
I don't have the next volume.
Because I skimmed through like the whole next volume, but I don't have it right up here with me.
Let's check my notes.
There's a lot happening in the next volume, so I can't remember what's in the next chapters.
There's only...
Because we got the laundry hug, and we got that conversation with Shigure, we got Momiji's growth spurt. And...
Oh, his glow up!
Yeah, and we've got...
we can't call it that? I mean...
I think we got the visit to Ayame's shop again, too.
Oh, with Machi, yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot happening, so I can't remember what's in the next chapters in particular.
Okay, my list is loading slowly for some reason. Where are we? 19. Okay. So we're in 18. Volume 19. Yes. Laundry scene, as stated. Yuki visits the shop. Ayame's backstory. Oh, the high school girl. Finally.
Yeah.
Feels like it's been such a long time. When we reviewed this, when we talked about the anime episode about Ayame, I was like, when the fuck was the last time we talked about Ayame? Like, a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably in that chapter that was in that part of the, like, in that episode. I'm just like, parent-teacher conferences. That was volume... That was, okay, so this is episode 53 or 54 of the podcast. That was in episode 37. So just for the record, that was a long fucking time ago. It was like, so long ago.
Was that before or after the beach?
It's after the beach, because she says, it's like just after the beach.
Mm-hmm.
School starts again. In volume 12, school starts again. In volume 13, it's parent-teacher visits.
Yep. Okay.
According to my notes.
Yeah.
This spreadsheet that I made for myself has been the most helpful thing that I made for this podcast. Okay, and then they visit the shop. And then they have the scene that you mentioned that I cut about Shigure talking to Toru being regretful. That's in the same... They have, like, it's at when they're having barbecue. It's chapter 111.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the Kakeru Komaki Toru connection.
Oh, yeah.
Is coming up, it says.
Yeah, man, there's a lot in that volume.
Yeah, shit's going crazy. And then volume 20 is when all the stuff goes down. So it's like... Mm-hmm. I always forget how early in the series all the, like, Akito going and stabbing people and Toru falling off the...
It's like the last volume is, like, 23, I think.
Yeah.
And it's, like, a shorter volume, and that all occurs, like, after that happens. So it's all, like, wrap-up stuff, so...
The note says Akito pops out of the woods. That's volume 21. And then Toru Akito confrontation. Then there's a bunch of, like, hospital visits.
Mm-hmm.
Volume 22 is some kind of student council stuff. And Yuki and Machi. And then Kyo goes to visit his dad. Uo goes to visit the hospital. Hiro talks to Akito, Yuki and Machi. There's a bunch of random crap here.
Yeah.
Kyo's confession. Curse breaks. Seems like chapter 129. So yeah, everybody's in the hospital for like a volume. And then volume 23 is everything after.
Yeah, because I was looking at the books on my shelf when I was like peeking at the next volume, and I was like, man, there's not that many left.
Well, I was just looking at this and I was like, this is 18, and I was just thinking like it only goes into like 2023, so I was like, we're getting there.
We got like 4.5 volumes basically.
I mean, also if
23 is a shorter volume.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming up. Then we'll have to do a finale special like we did before.
Yeah.
Which will just be a whole thing of praise for how great the series is, probably.
Yeah, obviously.
Like, there are no more spoilers. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll do questions again and whatnot.
Yeah, wrap up discussions and questions and final thoughts and stuff.
Anything people had on their minds that they desperately wanted me to talk about and didn't, etc.
Yeah.
Okay, spoilers. What are we talking about? Those are all things that are happening.
Yes.
But, like, I guess things that are, more immediately spoiled specifically by the chapters that we read were... I actually think it's interesting that you brought up that this is a fight of Toru's because she fights with more people as the series goes on, actually.
Yeah.
My favorite time is when she fights with Kagura and Kagura slaps her. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Speaking of like trashy drama, it's because it's trashy. That's why it's so great.
Yeah.
It's like someone slapped Toru in the face. Like, how dare? First of all, how dare? Second of all, in my heart, it's like I was just grinning from trashiness.
Yeah.
But
actually,
my personal opinion.
I like it a lot actually because like at the end of it afterward when they say the thing about like Kagura saying like she's not going to apologize and Toru's like, well, I won't apologize either.
Yeah.
And it's like a smile. It's cute. It's like
it is great. It is great.
It's very cute for their relationship.
It is, and I like how Kyo is like, she should have told me not to get in a fight between women or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just interesting that it's interesting that's where their relationship ends up. Like, it's really funny.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's like on bad terms. But yeah, I think they both are like, they're like, I don't think she's right. And Toru's like, I don't think she's right. It's like,
yeah. Yeah, but they're both like fine with it. They're both just like, this is cool.
This is fine.
We're good. We said our things.
Yeah. I gave Toru a concussion. No big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like the Kagura and Rin like relationship that's briefly shown there too. Like,
yeah.
Like Rin gets really upset for trauma reasons, and like Kagura just hugs her and apologizes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's another interesting scene between three characters who aren't normally together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like stuff coming up where you have all these like intermeshing of all these different characters, I think, that's happening at the end.
Yeah. That chapter too, like with Momiji, like when they're having the barbecue that turns into curry or whatever they were doing.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. Yeah.
But like they had that whole like conversation about like starting like not giving up on the cat and like like they're gonna stop like not talking about it kind of thing, which we've been touching on with the reactions to the cat's room idea.
Momiji leads the way, of course, with his empathy.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think is interesting is coming up is around Momiji's like glow up, where all the teasing that Momiji did about Kyo's relationship with Toru starts to come to a head because he starts to have feelings for Toru, or he like starts to not like act on them, I guess, but like I don't know. He gets kind of sassy with Kyo, I think, a couple of times.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it other than sass.
Yeah.
But it's been a long time since we've talked about
there's one in that scene where he's
actually.
basically like, there's one in that scene where he's basically like, you get your shit together, I'm gonna steal her.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And he's kind of like, what?
Yeah.
And Momiji's like, what? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
I enjoy it. I love the other part where Momiji take a photo on his cell phone of Kagura and Kyo or something, and they're like, "You cheater!"
He's like, terrible, you're cheating already.
And Kagura's like, "Cheater," and Kyo's like, "Hey." The two jilted lovers strike. I also like them. I wish there was more time in the series for like more Kagura stuff or more Momiji stuff, but Momiji gets his time to shine and it's about to come back. It's funny because it's like him and some of the people who were early on in the series like haven't really been involved much recently. It's mostly been like the student council and Kyo and Toru and Yuki, I guess, and Rin.
Yeah.
And a bit of Haru.
Yeah.
And Akito.
And so like Kagura comes back a little bit because we were just talking about like her scenes, but like Momiji's actually fairly prominent in the ending sequence.
Yeah.
Like being one of the early curse breaks and then like the one to talk to Akito outside the hospital and stuff.
Anyway, I don't know. That's coming. There's a lot. I mean, well, and of course, like this is a big. I guess it's a reveal. It's revealed to the characters that the curse can break because we already knew about it for a long time, like from when we met Kureno, I guess. So, does this set up things going forward? Like,
yeah, kind of.
I guess
it's like, the curse will break eventually, even if you leave it alone. It's like we're gonna have people's curse breaking pretty soon. So,
yeah, true.
Yeah.
And we saw. I mean, not
say
in this one, but Hinata, of course.
I'd say the biggest spoilery thing brought up in this chapter is the box.
No, the box. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. The box. The box with nothing inside. Yes.
Yeah. which is just like there's a whole lot of like Ren and Akito stuff in general.
Yeah, still to come.
It's like coming up in this that are brushed on on these chapters and are about to come to a head also.
Yeah, it's like you think that this is like, oh, Akito and Ren fight. But no, there's more than that to come, I guess. Yeah. That's like the stuff that culminates all the curse breaking. It's all around the same time, I guess.
Yeah.
They're all kind of one big moment.
Yeah. And we were kind of like talking around it, but it seems like Akito like can't get rid of Ren. Like it seems like there's a whole thing about like how Ren's got like her own like
the cult of Ren,
like followers, and like Akito like can't like just get rid of Ren for like fear of like upsetting like half the family and stuff. So
yeah,
there's all sorts of interesting stuff around the fact that she's been like isolated but still has like these maids following her around and talking to her and stuff.
Yeah. It does seem like that. Didn't they actually say that? Didn't Shigure say like there's like she has her own... Oh no, not Shigure. Kureno would have said it. She has a following of her own or something. She's kind of... He said like there's a person who's kind of like mentally unstable and whatever, and...
Yeah, I don't think they've talked about her like following yet.
Okay, well maybe I'm thinking
they just talked about her like being like usually in a back room, and how she has like a ton of influence over Akito still because she's her mother and Akito hates her, and
maybe that's what it is. But yeah, that's true. We'll see that. I'm trying to think if there's more. I mean, there's more Kyoto romance coming. We already talked about the sheet, the laundry scene, rather.
Yeah.
The most important
romance
thing.
And heartbreak.
Romance and heartbreak, yes. I do also love the drama and the way that Kyo just crushes her feelings after she confesses.
Yeah.
I love them as a pairing, but I love the drama too. I don't know. I think it's just my DNA. To love trashy drama. Where she's like about to tell him all her feelings, and then he's like, no, I'm disillusioned, and then runs away. It's like, oh shit! Like... And it's like, oh no.
My favorite part is how like deeply sarcastic everyone gets about it after like toward the end of the series, like especially Yuki, but everyone's like, oh man, imagine if someone said that to you. That'd be terrible.
The amount that they tease Kyo is appropriate, for sure.
Yeah.
Regardless of what he's done. He's always appropriate for teasing.
Yeah. I love how just like vicious Yuki gets at the end of it, like delightedly so. And Kyo's just like, man, you really aren't holding back anymore.
No. Yeah, Yuki's... I mean, it's also his glow up. His bitchy glow up. We talked about it a long time ago, I think. I can't remember exactly how we described it, but it was something like that.
Yeah, after their, like, no-holds-barred fight. And that
I also enjoy their no-holds-barred fight.
/ confession of friendship.
I wanted to be like you. No, I wanted to be like you. Exactly. That's exactly how it went, right? I mean...
Yes. Pretty much.
Again, spreading the facts through this podcast. Okay. I don't...
So we're basically just, like, naming events that happened.
Yeah, I know. It's not really even
the
a
last
spoil
few chapters.
Whatever. I'm like the spoilers has become, like, what's coming up, not, like, what's spoiled by this thing.
Yeah, it's more like, this made me think of this.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, like, a direct spoiler at all.
Because, like, they're not direct spoilers anymore. There's nothing... This isn't, like... I mean, yeah, like, the next things for, like... So, the characters that were the focus of these chapters were Rin, Haru, and mostly Toru, and a little bit of Shigure, and a little bit of Kyo. The things that we talked about are those things that are related to those things. Like, there's gonna be yet another confrontation that involves Rin and Toru, but it's more about Rin and Kagura, and then there's, like, all the stuff that's coming with Toru and Kyo. And their feels, and then the confinement of the cat, and all these other things. We talked about it in a much more roundabout way, but that's kind of like what's...
Yeah.
Those are the events that are then... will precipitate out of what happened in this chapter. It's not necessarily they're directly spoiled, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, we could talk about more things we want to talk about. I mean...
It's just going like, it's happening.
It's happening. Guys, it's finally happening. Okay. I don't have any other things that I wanted to bring up that are related to upcoming chapters. Spoiler or non-spoiler. Wise, I guess. Okay, in that case, next time we'll join you all again for 108 and 109.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Did you see the email that I sent you that someone sent?
I did.
Okay. She said she likes your bird. I mean,
I know. It's like Bowie's a star. I was gonna respond to it, but I had like 3 different things to say, so I was like, I'll just talk about it when we record.
Okay. Do you want to talk about it?
Mostly, I was gonna say that Bowie's a star, and I was gonna laugh about the like "Girl Be Wild" and the quote from Akito.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, and then I was gonna say that it's genuinely kind of touching with people saying that the podcast is like cheering them up during all this.
That's good. That's nice. Hello, it's Ellen. If you want to send us a question, you can find us on Twitter at staytogetherpod, on Tumblr at staytogetherpodcast.tumblr.com, or you can send us an email at staytogetherpodcast@gmail.com. Kayla and I want to keep creating podcasts and keep them ad-free, so if you like what you're listening to, please consider giving to our Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/staytogethernetwork. Thank you always for listening and for all your support. We'll see you next time.